Hello, welcome to Practically Magic. I am your host, one of your hosts, Courtney Pearl,
I'm Jaime Osbahr.
and we're here at Rising Moon Minerals recording another episode of season 3. We're so excited because we had so much to talk about last week that we had to carry it over into this week. And so I think that's just the way things are going to go. We're going to go with the flow. And we're also going to get to talk about things that we got to do this past week. So I'm really excited to tell you what Jamie and I have been up to because we've done some really fun things. But we're going to pull a card for the start of our episode. This is the Wildwood Tarot. It's a little pocket-sized tarot. Actually, I forgot to bring my cards today, but I love it because I've had this in my purse. I always keep this around in case I need to do like a card reading at any point, or it needs to be like a ritual or something. So we pulled the Moon on Water card. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. I love the artwork in this deck because it's very sketchy looking, like it was sketched with a pencil and then painted over. So any symbolism that comes up for you when you see that card?
I always love when the moon comes up. I feel very connected to the moon. So anytime the moon comes up, it's like an immediate connection for me. What I love about this card is it looks like just peaceful nighttime nature scene with animals and water and trees and a hill, and they're all just basking in the brightness of the full moon.
Yeah, there's like a oxen or something.
I was trying
I'm
to
not
figure
sure
out
what
what
that
that
animal
is. It's
is.
got some
Big giant horns, but really masculine and really protective kind of energy there, which I love. And then the heron or the it could be a
pelican.
yeah, the long leg birds,
Mm-hmm.
sandhill crane. I think they're
Great,
called
yeah,
too.
great.
They, it's flying in the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So elements of earth, water, air, all in this card.
Mm-hmm.
But the reflection of the moon on the water is somewhat distorted. I noticed it's not perfectly round. It's kind of wavy and like oblong shaped.
Like the water is moving.
Yeah, the movement of the flow of the water and like reflections of us as we look at ourselves or we do any kind of healing work and we're looking at ourselves, it's not always going to be a perfect reflection. So just taking into account that sometimes the way we see ourselves or what we're seeing in others that reflect back to us, it's going to be maybe a not perfect mirror image. It's just meant to show us what we're meant to see.
Right.
I know when I was going through my schooling, they talked about paying attention to how other people make you feel. So, like, if you are meeting someone and you're like, they just rub me the wrong way, they have like all these maybe just personality traits or different ways that they do things that you're just like, oh, that bugs me. It's a really good opportunity to stop and say, well, how is that like me and what's rubbing up against the parts of myself I don't like? So that maybe that's just a reflection of maybe these are some things you need to look at when you're doing your healing. This is your part of your shadows that you need to look at.
Right. Yeah. And maybe part of it too, though, is just paying attention to your intuition
Mm,
and not just saying, oh, that person irritates me, but maybe it is something about how they react, the way that they treat others, the way that they hold themselves, that you're seeing in them also things that need to be healed. So it's not a
yeah.
judgment, it's more of just being recognizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. I'm trying to be a lot more mindful of myself too, is saying, I don't want to judge this person and I don't want to say because they do these things that they're this or that,
Yeah.
but trying to understand, oh, maybe they have some trauma based around
Yeah.
that. I know I have trauma. I cannot listen to people chew with their mouth open. I have trauma and it's passed to my
I'll keep that
children.
in mind.
It's passed to my children and they get mad at me. They're like, I can't stand being around people that chew with their mouth open. I'm like, well, I mean, it is rude. So,
Yeah.
but I recognize that in me, and it's not like every time that happens, I'm like, stop it. It's more of like, what can I
What is
do?
this about me that I
Yeah.
need to just let go? Or, yeah. But on the other side of that, it's also important to remember that the qualities in people we really admire, it's because we also see that in ourselves.
Right.
Even when it's like, oh my gosh, this person is so good at this and this and this, and I love that, and I wish I were like that. There's a part of you that is like that. And so you're recognizing that too, or is on a path that is, preparing you to become that. Or so that's it's a positive side to it, because you don't always just want to confront those shadows and feel uncomfortable all the time
Yeah.
about yourself.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's all a great start to. We're going to talk a little bit about going into meditation, because we talked about last week how meditation looks so different for everybody. So I kind of wanted to bring forward some things that I do, because I am not always great at finding time throughout the day to be like, oh, I've got to take 15 or 20 minutes and I'm just going to sit. Oh, I wish I could. Like,
Honestly.
sometimes I see like movies or depictions of the spiritual people, like the Buddhist monks that lives up in the mountains, and they just like devote their whole lives to meditation and mindfulness and service to others. And I just think, that's what I want. I just want that. And then I look around me and I have 3 kids to take care of, and I'm trying to run a business, and I have a podcast, and I'm like, oh, actually, that's not my life at all.
Right.
So
it's a whole other level. It's finding the happy medium, right? It's as we've been talking about a lot lately too. Where does your pendulum swing, right? What side does it go really far this way? Does it go really far this way? Or do you tend to swing in that happy medium? I'm not good
yeah,
about swinging in that happy medium in a lot of aspects of my life. Um,
neither.
meditation is, I don't know if it's not something that I sit and dedicate,
Yeah.
right? But there are times like when I'm here in the shop and I don't have customers and things are quiet that I can just sit.
Yes.
And I don't like close my eyes, and I don't specifically dedicate, but I find that as a way to meditate,
Yeah.
to go inward,
Yeah.
right?
Inward, reset. Even just like a moment to tell the body, like, you're safe. This is okay. What's happening is okay. And
Where are we right now? Let's come
yeah,
present.
to ourselves. And your cleansing that we were gonna talk about is kind of it's more of like a ritual, but it's a meditative ritual, because with intention and doing it, there's a meditative process to that, like something that's repetitive, something that's ritualistic. What is it that you do when you do cleansing?
So here in the shop, I have been using this white sage with yerba santa. Yerba santa for me is just a really powerful cleanser, right? Like pushes that negative energies out. So I've been burning this. I use it with, the smoke. I get it smoldering and I use the smoke. And I recently learned that you don't blow on it. Like to keep it smoldering, you use a feather, you use your hand, something other than what's transferring your energy into it. So most of the time I'm walking through the shop, I'm fanning the smoke and I'm saying in my mind good things, right? Let's bring in positive energy. Let's move the negative energy out. It's never the same. It's never the same thing. It's more of like, and a lot of times I'll be sitting here focusing on doing something for the shop and I will smell the sage like it's burning.
So good.
So then I'm like, oh, I need to cleanse, right? Like that's for me, that's the shop saying, hey, we need a little help right now. We've absorbed some of that negative energy, or
Lots of people's energy come in and out. I mean,
they
in a
come
shop.
in, they hold them, they touch them, they, all the things. And that's not always negative. It's more of just like a transfer of that energy. So just kind of moving through the shop, and it's not like I pick up every single piece. I just kind of move through, and I'll open the door and I'll say, thank you. We no longer need your energy. And then I always burn, well, not always, but most of the time I'll burn Palo Santo. The Palo Santo for me is a much sweeter smell. And as I've learned, it's actually something that not only cleanses, but also brings in positive energy. So as we're pushing that negative energy out, we want to fill that with positive energy. So then I'll do the same. I get it to where it's smoking. I walk through with a feather, and I'm just, most of the time, my thoughts are in gratitude, right? Thank you for the space. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for your energy, all of those things. So periodically, I don't have like a ritual or a set time that I do it, but I pay attention to the smells.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was that, Claire
Yeah.
sentient.
I was
No,
gonna say, no, it's I cannot remember. Clairsentient is
yeah.
feeling, but
I think
it's
sentient
the
because it's a scent, but
scent. Yeah.
yeah, I
No.
pay attention to I pay attention to when that says to me, "Hey, let's do this," right?
Yeah.
So,
Bringing forward that smell, like it's interesting because I used to use sage more or bundles or and I have used smudging and sanding in different ways, but I used to do it more when I was preparing for a tarot session,
mhm,
like at my house and getting ready. Someone's coming, a client's coming over. I used to use it more. I've switched to other things, candles and drums and other things to cleanse the area. But what I do love about it is because the practice of sage is not just about cleansing or getting rid of. It's
mhm.
like a calling in of ancestral or guides. Usually it's ancestral. I feel like when I would do it, all of a sudden there would be, these are the people that are going to be here with this client while we're doing this reading.
Oh, yeah.
So it tends to connect to ancestral healing
Oh, that's
and things
beautiful.
like that. So you might be doing that as well.
Without it being super intentional about it.
Yeah,
But
it might be
yeah,
coming in too to be like, okay, we'll be here. Be here with you.
but I think like bottom line, anytime you're doing anything like this, you have to be very aware of where your intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're so focused on negative, if you're so focused on the bad things that have been happening around you and you're cleansing to try and just get rid of that, it might not work. If
Yes.
you can say, I want to cleanse that experience from me, but at the same time, I want to bring in good positive energy and I want to be grateful for where I am right now.
Mhm.
That's a better, for me, it's worked better, right? Rather than just saying, I'm so overwhelmed. All this stuff has been
Yeah.
happening. Please just get it away from me. Doesn't necessarily work that way. It's more of like, I don't know, being grateful. And where are your
Yeah.
intentions? Your intentions shouldn't be set in anger or frustration or,
Yeah.
those negative things.
Fear, scarcity.
Right.
We kind of talked about, if you go back in season one in the first few episodes, I know I was new at this whole podcasting thing, so forgive me if I sound a little sweaty and nervous, but in the first couple of episodes, we kind of talked about like, what are kind of my ideas of when I engage with magic or spiritual practice. And one of those things is, so we talked about the words, like having the right words, thoughts, things you say out loud, things you say in your mind, beliefs and intentions, things like that. But the intentions are more about the will. So when you're doing something, the will behind it is going to be really important. And universal energy does not understand like not. So when you come at something with fear, and I absolutely recommend this for anybody who, I mean, you don't have to feel like you're a witchy type of person. If you're just spiritual enough to pray, you use prayer as a way to meditate or to connect. It's a very different feeling. I actually taught this in a lesson at church like 15 years ago. I was a Relief Society teacher. Can you believe it? And I was like, you guys, you can't pray with fear. You can't say, please don't let me get sick. I really don't want to get sick. Because what the universe is hearing is get sick. I want to get sick.
Right.
Because they don't understand when you're saying the negative of something that your vibration is get sick, get sick, get sick. When you're praying in a way that's like, please don't let this happen. Don't this, protect my kids and make sure that they don't get run over by a car or something. And then it's like, where is your vibration when you're praying like that?
Yeah, true.
It's way down here. It's going, um,
I'm afraid.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid all of these things are going to happen. So I'm going to put it in your hands
Yes.
to make it not
Not
happen.
happen, not happen, not
But
happen. So
really,
I mean, you can say it's the language of God, but it doesn't understand not. So that's going, yes, 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 yes. So be intentional, meaning like, yes, heart full of gratitude is a totally different vibe, which is like, I am so grateful for this body that's healthy and keeps me healthy.
mhm,
The antibodies that fight off viruses and that keep me safe and keep me healthy. I'm so grateful for that. I just feel that in your body. What a difference,
It's a
right?
huge difference. Yeah. And retraining your brain, because if you've always lived in that fear-based mode, which I believe I have for whatever reason, like I don't know that I can pinpoint exactly. I probably could, but I'm not going to. It's more of moving your mindset from I'm so afraid that if I mess up, if I make a mistake, if I say something wrong, if I do all of these things, there's no coming back.
Yeah.
Instead of saying that happened, it's not happening right now. Where am I right now? What can I do now? And how can I shift that?
Yeah, yeah. Which is why affirmations, the way affirmations are written or made are not, I hope this will happen. It's worded in such a way that it already is.
Yeah.
So it's like, I am safe. I have enough. It's really important to word it right. So that's why word, will, and weigh the actual actions that you take. So even just a ritual like smudging or drumming or sitting quietly or whatever it is, the action that you take to engage with that or connect with that. That's my recipe
Yeah.
for magic.
Focusing on what you want as if it's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why the visualization too. I mean, I've been struggling. It's interesting. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but here we are. We're going to talk about it. I did a weight loss challenge with Shannon Galladay. She's been a guest on our podcast about wellness and physical wellness. I did one back in September with her, which was like a 6-week challenge thing, and there was like money in a pot, and those that lost a certain percentage, and it was measured by a bunch of things, not just weight loss, but it was like meeting goals and stuff. So I had somehow managed to make it in the top 2. I was like second place or something like that. So I won some money back and I was like, sweet, because I had done really well. I lost some weight that I wanted to lose, like some extra, the kind of pounds that are just like, they're not the healthy ones. So anyway, felt really proud of myself, felt really good. And then I started doing another 6-week challenge with her back in just a few months ago.
May or something.
Yeah,
like that, yeah.
May. So that was September, and then this was May. I had kind of gotten back into some old snacky habits and things like that. And I was like, oh, this will be a great reset for me. I need to just kind of get back on track. And totally couldn't get my head around it. Just could not figure out how to make it work. And just could not. It was a different program, so maybe the program just wasn't like fitting with me, but I just could not get it together. It was me. It was not Shannon. It was not the program. It was like, I can't figure out how to make this resonate with me or get motivated for it. And I realized one of the big differences between back in September and this time was that I could see it happening in my mind. I could visualize myself getting healthier and stronger and leaner as I was going through the actions of doing it. And this time I was just like, bleh.
Going through the motions.
I'm like, I'm doing all the things. I felt like I was doing the program really well. Maybe if I look back, I'd be like, you snacked a little too much, or you couldn't quite hit those macros, the fiber and the protein and all the things you're supposed to hit. I wasn't great at hitting all those, but I felt like I was trying really, really hard. And it was taking a lot of effort. And I was like, so frustrated. Well, I'm not losing any weight. I'm gaining weight. Like I'm seeing the scale go up instead of down. And I was so frustrated. But if I'm really honest with myself, I just couldn't see it. I couldn't in my mind see my body change or just visualizing myself leaner, stronger, fitter. I couldn't see it. Before I could see it and I could live in that when I was just daydreaming, I don't know if anybody else does that. I'm a Pisces, so I daydream a lot. But in the shower, when you're getting ready, I always shower at night to get ready for bed. And so in those moments, I was like, yeah, it's going to be so great when I lose that extra couple pounds and I'm going to feel good and I'm going to look a certain way and this and that and whatever. I mean, I was in it. Whereas this time I was like, not losing any weight. It's not working. I can't. I had those snacks today and I shouldn't have. And I'm going to live in shame about that for a while, and the vibrational frequency just does not match with what you're trying to make happen.
Right. You can't achieve your goals in that vibration.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's a big deal. I think it really kind of bleeds into everything else.
Absolutely.
So if I could make a plug for meditation in any way, it's just if you can take time to daydream or just to visualize, or even I've done an episode of the podcast about delusion, about how like sometimes it's okay to just live in your delusion that the world is what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Not in a disassociated, psychotic break kind of way.
Right. Not like actually like going out and doing the things, but just like envisioning the world the way you would like it to be and
Why not?
actually trying to create that for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
anything unhealthy about that.
Yeah. Just
But
being like, imagine if the world were magical, if the world were always on your side and you wanting what you want, the world is bringing it to you at every moment. If you could just live in that space, it doesn't even matter if it is true or it happened. It feels so good.
yeah.
Like, what's the harm? You know,
Right.
just being like, everything always works out for me. And that might be truer than anyone else, right? There might be somebody who sees everything as nothing but horrible things happen to me.
Mhm.
I'm always in some sort of fight, flight, or freeze mode because there's trauma happening all the time.
But that's where your focus is, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what we're trying to get at is you can choose what you focus on because good and bad things happen to us all the time, every day, moment to moment. If we choose to only see and recognize the bad, then it's going to continue and it's going to persist.
Yes.
But if you choose to focus on the good and you can stay in that higher vibration, bad things will still happen. They
Yeah.
just won't continuously drag you
They
down.
won't feed the narrative, the story you have in your mind that
You're the victim.
oh, this is because things always happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's that level of shame around everything, about everything that feels that way. Is like there's something about me. Everything
I
else
don't deserve. I don't deserve good things. I don't. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk a little bit about, I kind of like package that up in a little bow, and I want to talk about synchronicities and things that happen for a reason. Um, and that kind of plays into the whole like what you focus on is what you get. So we're going to wrap up in a little bow and put a pin in it because we're going to come back to that in a couple of episodes. Don't worry, there's tons more about that we want to talk about. We've had some really cool experiences we want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to talk about our experience on Friday. We went to it's Wild Heart Sanctuary, Wild Horse.
Wild Horse Sanctuary in Park City, Utah.
Yes.
They rescue wild horses um, from slaughter, from like places where they maybe took them and tried to break them to train them, and they wouldn't be broken. So a lot of times, if they don't fit the narrative that they're placed into, then they're placed up for slaughter or to be rehomed or things like that. So this sanctuary comes in and they rescue them. They bring them to their land and they let them live their life.
They just live there forever.
And they don't shoe them. They don't try to train them or break them. They just give them space to exist. And I knew these places existed. I had never before visited one. I'll tell you, I have a healthy fear of horses
Yeah.
because they're large
Yeah.
animals and they can be unpredictable.
Totally.
I mean, all animals can be unpredictable, but there's a difference between a 20-pound dog being unpredictable and a 1,000-pound horse being unpredictable.
Yeah.
So I will say a lot of that, my fear helped me back, right, from experiencing
Yeah.
any of that. So going to this event, I felt very called to it. And, like I sat with it for a while. I bought my ticket the same day. Nothing wrong with that, but it was something that I was like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And I put myself in this uncomfortable position, which I thought was uncomfortable, but it was a beautiful experience. It
Yeah.
was just, anyway, I'll let you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to hear more about like what you got from that. I will say, same. I have always wanted to work with horses. I've always been interested, but I didn't grow up like some girls do around horses. They're very familiar with horses, and I have had just a few handful of experiences with horses. The kind where the horses are super duper trained, and so you basically don't have to do a thing.
You just
They
sit on
just
them.
plop you on it and say, we're going to go on a trail, and you just ride it along, and you're like, the horse knows what to do. I don't know to do nothing. In fact, I remember one time when I was a kid, they were like, if they start nibbling on, bushes along the trail, you just have to kind of pull and get them back on track. And I was like,
I don't want to do
happened
that.
to me. I was like,
Hey.
excuse me, sir. Excuse me. I think you're not supposed to do that. The guy said,
It's not food time right now.
it's not food time right now, but I don't want to bother you. And they're like, you just got to give them like a good kick. It doesn't hurt them. They barely feel it because their hides are so thick, but you just got to give them a little kick so that they know you're there. And I was like, no,
I don't want to do that.
I'm like, he can just eat as long as he wants. Okay. I'm okay with
I'm
it.
cool to just sit here and watch.
Yeah. He'll catch up. We'll catch up. Don't worry. We'll just that's the kind of experiences I've had. But I do feel drawn to them. They're beautiful, beautiful. And just their, the personalities, the healing that comes from a horse and what a horse has been through, what they can offer, and how they, I always thought, they call dogs man's best friends, but I think horses are too. They're so in tune with humans because they've been alongside humans, maybe not so great capacities for many generations. So yeah, I'm always drawn to that. But I will say I have been in a field full of cows, and it was terrifying. And I love cows too. I think they're great. Yeah. But just they're so massively big animals. So yeah, and they start, coming around you. You're just like, I could die.
I feel threatened right now.
I could die. Speaking of dogs, Benny heard us talking about dogs, and he's going to come over and say hi. I know. Mom's right here.
Come here, bub.
He was like, excuse me. You're not the one I wanted.
I'd like to sit on her lap, please. Thank you.
This is Benny.
This is Benny. He wants to be part of the podcast today.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, I think both you and I are on kind of that same level where it's a fascinating animal. We can see, and I've heard stories about how people have interacted with horses and found healing. And, I wanted that for myself, but it's also part of it was just like the fear holding me back of, I don't know if I can feel safe. Right. So, going to the sanctuary, going to the sound bath and doing the healing session that Cambria provided, it was beautiful. And for me, it was a beautiful experience. And it's interesting because sometimes when I think, oh, I'm going to a sound bath, I've been to a sound bath before, it's all going to be the same. It's not. It never is the same experience. I've fallen asleep in a sound bath before. I've been so relaxed that I fall asleep. This one, I didn't want to close my eyes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fear. It wasn't anything other than I just wanted to be able to soak in what was going on around me. At first, it was the clouds. We were laying on our backs, and the things that kept popping up in the clouds for me, I was like, I don't want to miss it. So I'd look and I would see fish. I saw koi, swimming around each other. So I kept thinking of the Pisces symbol. I don't know what it meant. A lot of this, it comes to me, but I never know what it means. And then I looked back over where Cambria was playing her bowls, and there was it looked like a goddess. So a female in the clouds with her hands open like this. And I felt like she was just blessing our whole event. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I kept my eyes closed, I wouldn't have seen any of this. And then I guess we kind of need to give backstory, right?
Yes.
One of the horses from the rescue, they called him the lieutenant. His name was Durango, had passed away that morning. So coming into the space, hearing the stories, it was already very heavy, very somber, right? And it was hard to hear the story from the owner and to know that it had been she'd been so distraught watching him pass. And then hearing how the horses had reacted to it, it was like, oh my goodness. It was it was very heavy, but it was also a very beautiful experience to come into that, to see the horses support each other, the way that they were just kind of staying together as a herd, staying close by each other. They weren't going out to pasture, is what she was saying. They hadn't eaten all day, that they were all just in mourning. Yeah. And then we went down into their pasture. We laid out our blankets and our things, and we started the healing session, we all gathered together in a healing circle. We chanted, we sent healing energy out. I pulled a lot of that in for myself because I felt like I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started the sound session. And next thing we know, the horses are there with us.
I know.
They're walking in between where we're laying. But what I loved was they circled our circle.
Yeah.
They were all the way around the perimeter.
Yeah. And I don't even know when they came down because it was up a hill. We had to go down a hill to get to the pasture, and they were all at the top of the hill by the barn where we'd left them. We came from there and we saw them, and then we came down. And I kept kind of, I couldn't close my eyes. It's not one of those sound baths that other sound baths I've had where you really go totally in. Sometimes I've astral traveled during sound baths. It's kind of amazing. And I've left my body and just had really cool experiences. But this one was more grounding than anything. It was like, I don't want to close my eyes. I want to see everything.
But I want to be very present. That's what I
and
felt.
see what's going on. But I saw the horses on the hill as we were getting started, as we were laying down. They were just kind of like peeking over the hill at us. Like one of them would come look at us and then walk away. You'd see them disappear over the hill. And then it was kind of like out of nowhere. I don't know how
I didn't
or
hear
when
them.
they came down because I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I just heard behind me. I started hearing and you're like,
whoa, there
like,
they are.
Where are they?
Yeah.
They were just starting to just come all around.
And they were eating?
Yes, they started eating. The owner was just like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is amazing. They haven't eaten all day. This is their first time eating. And I heard one of them say at the end, the Sonia, the owner, I think she's the owner, but she's the director. She's the person in charge. But she was saying also in the clouds, she said that
she saw a horse.
A horse, yeah.
Yeah.
She said that it looked just like Durango.
Oh
that all of these women were like, did you guys see the horse head over there? And she said, yes, it was Durango's face.
Oh my goodness. I didn't see that part. What I just saw what was directly going on above me because I wanted to stay down. I wanted to lay down and I wanted to, because that's kind of just what you do. You put your head toward the sound and but eventually I did sit up and I was sitting up when the horses decided to not get along for a second.
They got a little frisky.
Yeah. And one ran right by where Cambria was set up. And like she's got expensive, like actual crystal sound bowls and chimes and the triangle, all of those things. And the horse bumped like I can't even imagine the damage that the horse could have done to all of these. But he just bumped bumped the little chimes and then continued on, didn't hit any person, really didn't do any damage, but it was a little scary.
Yeah, it sounded like glass breaking and it sounded a little crazy. So some people sat up to look to see what happened because you're worried. You're like, what just happened? You heard a horse running.
Yeah.
But they had like grabbed some of the more expensive bowls, kind of moved them out of the way. And it was just a chime that he had like run into, but which Cambria was like, that wasn't as big a deal as it could have been. It was fine. But yeah, they just got a little frisky. They, were nipping at each other.
They are wild horses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's almost what I would expect. Oh, if not more. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I think wild horses, I think like they're up on their hind legs and they're kicking at each other and, they're very like, I don't know, aggressive.
Yeah. Maybe they've been raised in the wild and they were like,
right.
But these horses were coming from traumatic experiences of captivity and coming to rewild, which I love just the symbolism of that is that a lot of healing work in general, whatever you're going through, it's about rewilding yourself. It's about getting back in touch with like, none of these horses wear shoes. They're, she kept saying barefoot and I was like, barefoot. But yeah, no horseshoes, but just, they are rewilding. They're allowed to be exactly who they're meant to be. And even when they invite people to be out in their space, she teaches us how to be in their space. Like you can come and stand next to them and maybe put your hand out. They'll smell you. Don't stand behind them. Don't like approach them like
super fast or
unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't actually, I wanted to, but I didn't actually pet any that night. I'm planning on going back and doing some more things there. In fact, we may be doing a healing through art that's in the works out there at the sanctuary. So I'd love to help them raise money, more money for the horses and stuff, but just to get to go spend a little more time getting comfortable with the horses is something I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
And I saw that they had in their barn a chart of the chakras that
The horse
horses,
chakras.
yes,
Yeah, that was so cool.
and they sell these mane beaded things that go in their manes. They sell them there at the little barn gift shop. But they had a chart that showed you their chakras, and they have an extra chakra. They have the throat and they have the brachial chakra. So I was like, I am so fascinated. I think it would be so fun to go out and just maybe try out some energy healing work with the horses. Because if they can get through such difficult things that they've been through and come to a place where they feel safe and they can be around humans again and not feel threatened, because they have more reason to be threatened by us than we do of them.
Yeah,
right?
true.
We're like,
True.
whoa, they're so big, but
We've
they've been.
harmed them a lot more than they've harmed us.
Yeah.
And it was interesting too, because I was talking to Sonia, and at one point she goes, "Well, we already know each other, right?" And I was like, "I think we do. Like, this is the first time we've actually met in person, but I
Yeah.
think our spirits know each other." But I was talking to her about crystals, and she was saying that the horses will activate the crystals. So I need to take some of these bigger pieces, I think, out there into that
Oh my
pasture.
gosh, I would totally do that with you. That would be amazing.
She's like, they'll come up and they'll touch it with their nose, and they don't get aggressive with it or anything like that. It's more of like they're almost giving it a blessing and saying, I feel the energy, I love you, I respect you. So it's like all of these conversations, it was just like I felt my cup fill.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Soulful Friday. And then I think we're going to talk in another
Yes,
episode
we
about
had
what we
some
did
more
Saturday.
experiences. That this weekend was very full and busy for us.
Yes, but it was
We had a
so
lot of
like
fun.
it was just so fulfilling. Like I felt
Yeah.
my cup was overflowing, and I was at the point where I could then actually genuinely show up for others
Yeah.
because I've shown up so much for myself. It's not sustainable to do that every weekend because financially it's a little hard, but it's also
Right.
that it was very time consuming. There's a lot of travel, there's a lot of energy put into it. So I need to reserve my
Yeah.
full cup and divvy it
Yeah.
sparingly. But we'll talk about it in another episode. But we also made drums, actual animal hide drums.
Yes.
And that was a whole other thing. We'll talk about it. We were going to bring our drums today. We both forgot.
I know.
So
It wasn't meant to be. Like that's
right.
another story for another day. That's all right. We'll do it on the next episode.
Yeah.
But so many cool experiences. And what I feel like I have to share about that day, she'd also talked about the pasture, the ley lines, which, if anyone knows, are really powerful vortexes of energy, ley lines that run through Glastonbury and Paris. There's ley lines that run in lots of different places in the earth. And there are supposed ley lines in this property. And no wonder. I mean, it's a massively healing space. But I was coming off of a really difficult time with Pioneer Day, having been the week before. I always struggle quite a lot with Pioneer Day. I made a social media post about it if you want to check it out a little bit more. But the idea that my own ancestors colonized this area in such a horrific way and just have never stopped since. We're still doing it today. That's not something that's just in our history or in the past. It's just something that we have to live with and do our best. I think it's our personal responsibility to both honor our ancestors and also um, do the work of decolonizing within ourselves. What is it that we need to address, like in the practices we do, and connecting appropriately with the land? And it will help heal the land and what has happened here. And I can go into that history another time, because if you don't know about Utah history, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I always just have such a hard time with Pioneer Day because it's just this massive celebration. They celebrate it like it's a national holiday, but it's a state holiday. and they do the fireworks, and they, a lot of people, parades, days of 47. Let me just say this. The pioneers showed up here in 47. Brigham Young, right? Stood on top of that mountain and said, this is the place
where we will have many wives.
Yeah, where we will trap women here, because we told them they were going to California, but they're not. They're coming here, and we're going to just make them marry who we tell them to marry and all the things.
Okay, so I have to interrupt you for a second because I didn't know this until this past Pioneer Day. I saw a post that said Utah, California, Nevada, and Arizona are actually all parts of Mexico at that time. Right? So it's like, no, this is not the place.
I know.
You don't get to just come in and say, I'm taking this.
Does this man have to be? Lots of issues I have with all of this. My family members were among the next phases of the hand cart company that came and settled here, and part of the first settlers that became Brigham City, which is where my family is all from. And I have a lot of pride in that. My family's history is really seeped in that region, and there's a lot of pride in it too, and a lot of honoring to be done. But at the same time, a recognition of that pain, right? Of what happened there. So I was already I just really struggle with Pioneer Day. People asking me like, what are you doing to celebrate Pioneer Day today? And I was like,
nothing.
A giant middle finger to the
man.
statue of Brigham Young. I don't know. I haven't decided how I want to go about that yet, but I was coming from that. We went to this healing sanctuary, and she said that some of the local tribe shaman had come and done some chanting, and spent a day out there in the pasture just chanting and singing and for hours. And that really struck me because I was like, there is sort of a reclaiming that needs to happen. And I'm really grateful for people like Sonia who, again, she has this land, and she uses it to give back to the horses and to the land itself. And it's healing. It's coming to a place where there's connection with the land and something that doesn't look like capitalism and what can I get out of this energy?
Right.
What can this land give me? Or I overpower this land. This land is mine and I own it. It's more of that indigenous people's practice of I am a steward of this land. I care for it. It's engaging with animism, which is that everything has a spirit. Everything has a soul. This is sacred. So when we stood in that healing circle, I wasn't feeling particularly connected or spiritual in the moment. I was still kind of just like, the story of Durango really choked me up, but I was just kind of feeling like, okay, so what is going to happen? I had no expectations. We stood in that healing circle, and as we were chanting and singing and receiving healing and giving healing in that circle, all of a sudden I looked around and I just saw massive amounts of people just crowding around us. And they were all, yes.
Settle in, buddy.
They were just all indigenous people. They were like people who had connected with the land. And I started just kind of sobbing, like just because part of me was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about what happened. And I'm so sorry for what happened to this land. And I'm so sorry for my ancestors that did that. And I'm just sorry. And then I just felt this powerful love, like
forgiveness.
Yes, almost like forgiveness, but more than that, more like you are doing the work. Keep doing the work. You have to heal this land. It's not about being sorry. It's about having a different relationship with the land than your ancestors did.
Yeah, the honor.
And share that message with as many people as you can. Is just tell them, we can't keep doing that. We can't keep just, I don't know.
Taking.
Take. For profit, for, capitalism and all that. But if I got anything out of it, it was that, in that moment, just being really, really struck with that. And I really struggle and I've talked about this before, but I struggle with connecting with this land because of that.
Mhm.
I feel connected to land in general, but I know that my ancestors came from my homeland. So this is my adoptive mother.
Mm.
And while she takes care of me and loves me just as much, it's that disconnect that I have to heal, that I have to be aware of and do the work. So
That's beautiful. We had very different experiences.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and not to say
we were
that
in
one
different
is
places.
right. We
Yeah.
were in different emotional places. Pioneer Day for me has never really been like, let's celebrate that this land was blah, blah, blah. It's my oldest child's birthday.
Okay, yeah. Let's
So
celebrate that.
it's always been a focus on celebrating that. We've always gotten together as a family. We've barbecued and light fireworks,
Yeah.
but not to celebrate Pioneer Day.
Yeah.
It's to celebrate my child. And that looked different for us this year too. So, um, yeah, just the healing that I was able to receive from that experience and in the drum building, was everything that I needed at this time. So I love that you shared that too, because a lot of times you think, oh, well, what I experienced, what I felt, you did that too, right? You just felt the same thing.
Yeah.
And to a degree, yes, but to a degree, it took it in a different direction,
Yeah. It was
right?
what I needed. It was what I was going through. And I think healing, especially when you're calling in spirit or a higher power, when you're calling in those energies to help you, you're going to be brought with what it is you're needing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was for me, and in needing that. And so hopefully, yeah. And I will say, just as a meditation, um, yeah, it was more difficult to get into a space where I was going within, because the horses are around. And but what I believe about sound healing is that the sound being played around you is the healing that you're getting. You're getting those vibrations that interact with your cells and heal you. So it's not always going to feel like a meditation. It's not always going to feel the same way, and that's okay. But I do encourage anyone listening to try something like that. If you have a difficult time meditating, or you have a difficult time just getting relaxed, drumming for 20 minutes is any kind of rhythmic actions. That's why uh, a lot of women were called witches when they were weavers and spinners, spinsters. That's what they are. They're spinners. They're spinning the yarn and the web, but they're sitting there watching the wheel and just doing that repetitive movement constantly. And what they do during that is they get into a trance and they meditate. So that's when messages will come through. That's when their mind clears. So it doesn't always look like you sitting on a yoga mat being like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
and chanting. But that's why chanting is part of it for some people, is because it's a rhythmic vibration or a note that you're singing, and you're connecting with that note. Each chakra has a frequency and a note that can be played to connect with. But it can be walking. Oftentimes I do meditation walks where I just make sure that I'm not listening to anything. I'm not, I don't put on headphones or have music or anything. I just walk, for 30 minutes and just see what thoughts come in, what I notice. I observe things around me. That has been a really powerful practice for me, because uh, it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. You get to meditate and you get your steps in for the day. So if that calls to you, do that. But it doesn't always have to look the same as someone else. So hopefully that helps anyone who's looking to engage with meditative practices, and just have a moment of stillness, whatever that looks like for you throughout the day. And so we're going to talk about our crystal of the week with that in mind. So at the shop, you're going to have this. I want to show this. Tell us a little bit about
Scolecite.
site.
So
Scolecite.
these are polished pieces of scolecite. Scolecite in the raw is actually like a spray of very delicate crystals. So they take these and they bring them together with the matrix that they grow with, things like that. When you see these in person, they actually have like a really cool chatoyant like flash to them. You can see all the lines in them from
from that like
the
crystal.
imprint from the crystal itself. They come from India, the Indonesian area. Um, not exclusively, but the highest quality ones do. And they do connect you very, very well up into that higher part of your crown, right? During meditation, if there's a time that you feel like you need to be up in your higher self, anything like that, the skull side is really going to help. It's a very calm, peaceful, mindful, bringing you into your higher self type of a crystal.
Yes, I've been saying this a lot this week to people, but the C words that connect, how you know you're connected with your higher self, you're calm, connected, curious, not judgmental, curious, and creative. And so, like, just even to sit and I was going to say about the clouds, when you were talking about the clouds in the sound bath, that is actually a thing. Cloud scrying, being able to see images in the clouds, but then also being able to receive what those images mean to you or interpreting them. So I think these black stones are great, but some of these really white, shiny, when they're polished, are great for scrying. So if you're just kind of staring at it and allowing your mind to wander and allow whatever come to you that you need to think about, this would be a perfect stone for that.
For me personally, anytime I'm working up in my higher self, because when I get up into those realms, I tend to float and I tend to then disconnect. So I always try to keep something grounding and dark around me. So depending on how it affects you, depending on, how you work with it, that's my suggestion is always to keep something grounding next to you as well. Being a Taurus, I'm supposed to be grounded a lot. I'm supposed to be really good at grounding, but in the progression of my life, I've learned that I like to be outside of myself. I like to be in a book. I like to be in a podcast. I like to be somewhere where I'm not in my own thoughts. So when I try to go inward and I go into my own thoughts and I try to be up in my higher self, I get scared. I get nervous. I don't know what's going to come up and I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. So keeping those dark stones next to you in your pocket, in your hand, wherever you need it, will help keep you centered and grounded as you're up there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And both are kind of a when you're doing healing work, they're both a coping mechanism too, of like when you're uncomfortable or things are difficult or you have to face something you're not ready to, disassociating or like living up in the higher chakras all the time and not being back in your body. That's a typical response. So if that feels like what you need when you're meditating, you can kind of fill that out and do what you need to do.
right.
What's best for you.
What works for me might not work for you, but it's always a suggestion. It's always something that I say, I struggle with this specifically, and these are the things that I do to help counteract my the things that I deal with, right? So I never, and I really, really try to never say, only do it this way. When you're working with this crystal, only do it this way. And if people are saying that to you, please don't listen to them.
I know. The shoulds and the supposed tos are were a little iffy.
Yes.
I always question that a little bit.
Yes.
When that comes up. Yeah.
Because it's also fluid. It all works differently. I'm always like, get your hands on it, feel it, try it for yourself. And if it doesn't work, there's no shame. There's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with the crystal. Maybe just try a different one. That's always my suggestion. So I'm always happy to have a conversation. I'm always happy to help try and guide.
Yes.
But I am not the person that's going to tell you that do it this way and do it with this and only say these words. That's just, oh goodness.
So with that in mind, if they had to have questions about specific crystals or what they're needing, how can they reach out to you?
I am on social media, Instagram, rising_moon_minerals. I'm on TikTok. I think anywhere if you search rising moon minerals, I think I'm the only one that comes up. I know I'm the only one that comes up on Instagram. Um, risingmoonminerals.com. You can always send me an email through my website, risingmoonminerals@gmail.com. Pretty much anything Rising Moon Minerals, you're going to find me. Reach out to the shop, whatever it is. I'm always
If you're
available.
local, come in.
Yes.
Come in and check it out.
Yes.
Come and read the cards that go with each one. There are a lot of great information. So that's going to be the crystal of the week. And you can also reach out to Practically Magic. So if any of the questions come in on the Practically Magic website that are for Jamie, she's going to see those too. So you can reach out to anything that we talk about on the podcast. We're happy to. In the first season, I had some questions from a listener that would pop in, and it would be different things about healing and magic. And so I would love to start that up again. If anyone wants to reach out and ask questions, we can dive in more. And that gives us some topics to kind of delve into deeper when we record our episodes.
So do they have the option of asking questions on the episode on YouTube as well?
Yes,
because that's
comments and you can write in.
I love this idea because then it opens up questions and conversation.
Yes.
That might not only be something that you want to talk about, but something that somebody else wants to talk about too.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt because you'll get those people that jump in and say, oh, you're doing it all wrong. And let me put in my 2 cents, but it's going to happen. It's social media.
I would actually be thrilled to have trolls. And I have on my TikTok, I'm also doing TikTok lives starting the season. So every Monday at around 5 our time, Mountain Standard Time, I'm doing TikTok live card readings. So you can pop on and ask questions or just watch and listen to what the cards are telling us to open up our week. But I have had a couple of really fun situations where trolls will come on and tell me that I need Jesus. And I'm like, I love Jesus. He's my guy. He's one of the ascended masters that I work with in healing work. He's one of the original. So yeah, love it all. Cool. Good. Thanks for letting me know. But that's when I feel like, oh, we must have really made it. We have the troll. So I don't mind any of the comment. Bring it on.
I think what I'm trying to say though is let's open up the conversation.
Actually, yes,
you know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Because it's going to be like, oh, you can't use that or this or that, and you might be right. We want to explore those topics too. So we're not afraid to look deeper at that.
No.
So you can find us practically-magic. Magic is with a CK. .com is our website. Sponsors of the show, we have Prism Healing. That's me. Rising Moon Minerals. Prism Healing, I do energy and emotional healing work and card reading sessions. You can book that from anywhere. I do them online, virtually, and in person. So check that out at prism-healing.com or on social media. You can find me on Instagram, prism_healing, or TikTok, Prism Healing. That's prism as in the beautiful lights that come through a crystal, not prison, where people go when they've broken the law. Also, I want to thank our sponsor, Sunshine Community. We are both members of the Sunshine Community, and she's going to be on this episodes this season talking about Sunshine Sisters and Sunshine Community here locally and what people are doing. So check that out, Sunshine Community. And of course, Ride the Wave Media. I want to thank them for producing this podcast. Just Blaine is he's our guy. He does a great job editing, producing, releasing these videos, and I'm taking really good care of our podcast. So he does all the background work that we don't do. But you can check out his videos as well. He has a Blaine's World on YouTube where he shares all the cool stuff that he's doing. So you can check him out as well. But we will be here next week. Go make magic, witches and wizards. Bye. Bye.